I guess she did know to wait for us because she met both of us 2,000 years ago. No, she met me 2,000 years ago. She didn't get a chance to meet Al, because Al, I don't think, made it into where I made it. Lions. Ancient Rome, Greece, Egypt, and Sumer. What a coincidence.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius's tablet, and I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you, I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
Is it our names? You and me, bud? Are you even in the timeline for them, or were you wiped from it because I then, that day, kept getting overwritten with me? I don't know. Why don't I encounter you in the time paradox, actually? I'm a little confused by that. Because if they were overwriting the day over and over again, and it was still the same day, then I guess the days that, the loops that I went to and the loops that he went to were different days. Like, you would almost think that we would get sent back to the same starting point loop and interact with each other. But I guess the loops can be, despite being the same day, can be spaced out chronologically as being a series of days that take place after each other, even though it's the same day. And so they started incorporating me into the loops after he was gone. But if he was gone, then wasn't he being overwritten by the previous loops as if he never existed at all? So how did he manifest as a statue? I should have been able to find him as a statue somewhere in there, shouldn't I? Oh my god.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Hilarious, what are you doing here?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Karen appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I used Karen's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course. It's hard work, but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You're with Aquitia now?
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together. We're planning to get married next spring. If you're gonna be around, we'd love to see you there.
I'd love that, count me in. It's good to see you again, Galerius.
Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
What the hell? That guy in military fatigues? Yeah, they're all dressed up for modern stuff right now. I'm sorry, what country were we in again? It doesn't say. What? Because like they speak the language, or at least did they learn? I don't know what country we're in.
Oh, hello.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you.
Good to see you too, Aquitia.
So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us. For all of us.
How's Livia?
Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself.
I'll do that. It's good to see you again, Equitia.
See you at the wedding, I hope.
Don't do unto others as you would do unto yourself and whatever and whatnot and so on. So like the people who had all to do with the shitty crime stuff, they were all justified. But Dooley being mentally incompetent and thinking that the shiny thing that's lying around must be something that nobody else wanted or something and it's okay for him to take it, that gets literally all of society killed. That was his fucking code. All the other shit that people did was wrong, but what was fine. But what Dooley did was worthy of everyone's death. Apparently, the guy was such a piece of shit.
Hello, I'm Dooley.
I remember who you are, Dooley.
Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't like it.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth.
It was good to see you again, Dooley.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Who we got next? No one there. Patient and...
Hi there.
Hello.
Doctor.
You're the Oracle, right?
Yog is fine.
Oh, of course, sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually, I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about.
Seeing the world through fresh eyes sounds wonderful.
I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
Like, aw, she's no longer suicidal. Because we kind of... She was trapped in an unsolvable situation where even if you help her, it's bad. So it's like, it's good to give her a happy ending here. Although, at this point in the timeline... It's a weird thing where I know a bunch of them to varying degrees, although I've never interacted with her very much. But they have no idea who I am, because I basically walked into this place, talked to the... I'm sorry, I cannot remember the names of the people in this game. I'm so fucked at it. It's so difficult. Galerius? Yeah. Galliol... Didn't I write it right over here, because I was doing the votes? Yeah, it is Galerius. I told Galerius everything, and then I went to Sentius to just see what his dialogue was like for a bit. And then I just went straight inside the temple. So in the timeline that I beat the game in, I interacted with basically nobody. So these people have never seen my face before for the most part. Which is just, it's a funny outcome. I wonder how many people could have died. That's curious, isn't it? Like, if I... Yeah, I had the tablets already. So I could have just told Galerius nothing, in which case, like, 4 people would die or something like that. And if I talked to the god after that, would they not be here? Because I would assume this is based on the current state of things at the time I talked to him, because as far as I could tell, Hades... Pluto didn't know anything about the time loop, so... In fact, I think everybody who was missing is not here. Is the Egyptian here? Because he was missing. I'm curious about that. Whatever happened to Malleolus and Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I think you're allowed to feel that way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Whatever happened to Aurelia?
Ugh. Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met, and last I heard she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it?
Fire
Nigeria?
Festival.
Some people have all the luck.
Oh no, she doesn't know about the cons that everybody knows about. Whoops. I was hoping, I was like, it was like really goofy, like Fire Festival. Fucking Nigeria. As an oracle, I foresee terrible disappointment in her future.
Really? Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
This is practically the most the two of us have talked so far, is after the ending happens. It was good to see you again, Ayulia.
You too. If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
I'll take you up on that.
I hope so.
So I got 2 endings earlier, and there was 2 more endings coming. I wonder if I got the true ending or the other ending or not. It might be that the other ending is just when fewer people survive, in which case I'm not that interested in going back and getting it, if I got the true ending, but we'll see.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hey, Lucrezia.
Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So...
I'm just gonna accept the TARDIS logic on everybody's language stuff right now, because just the question of where we are and where people are living and how they're adapting so quickly and so on, or even what language we're currently speaking is so up in the air that I don't know what's happening. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time.
It was good to see you, Lucy.
You too. Don't be a stranger.
Hey.
Hi there, I'm Horatius.
Hi, Horatius.
I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Centilla with us as well. So, thank you.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides.
I'm sorry you never got to see your girl again.
Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever.
Well said.
Thanks.
Wait, so is she gone? Wasn't she still alive and in the why'd they not let her out? They literally just couldn't find her, and I just wasn't able to be like, hey, she's over there. Whatever happened to your buddy Domitus?
He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC. So he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome. Suppose it appealed to people's baser instincts. And they say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
He got into the UFC and kicked out of the UFC, and then also started a blood sport tournament in the underground in only 1 year of being in this world. Holy shit, he was busy. They're really just like, fuck you to all the characters that were unlikable. Like, it shows like there's a clear delineation of the good characters and the bad characters here to some extent, where it's like they're passing, even though it was supposed to be about a moral judgment where everyone's supposed to be under the golden rule and good somehow, there was clearly such an entire category of people that were just the bad characters, and like this is who they were set out to be, and so they're just not in this celebration. They're just not here. Some of them are literally dead or in the process of being conned or miserable and so on. I'm curious to see if Sentius will be here, because well, there's certainly a conversation to be had about how I know who he is and so on, and he doesn't have any power now. And I guess at this point there's nothing left to do about it. Sounds like he got what he deserved.
You're not wrong.
It was good to see you again, Horatius.
And you. Farewell.
Yeah, where is your sister? Did she die for like no reason? Like she was there. What an ineffective god.
Evening.
It's just not good at his thing.
I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you again, Sentia.
Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again.
Oh, I wanted to have a villain speech or whatever. What happened to Sentius?
He's still there, all alone. The last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me.
Hey, he got the immortality he wanted. Seems a bit excessive, don't you think?
I try not to think about him at all.
What do you got yourself doing these days?
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere.
It was good to see you again, Cynthia.
You too. See you around.
Because we had so many pleasant conversations in the past.
I take it you're the Oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
The vest and bow tie. We've met before, though I wouldn't expect you to remember it.
We have. I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it.
Was that supposed to be in gray? What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again.
How did all these people get to where they are in society? Persephone put them there. I give up. I give up on the other name. I can never remember it right. It was good to see you again.
My sincere thanks once again.
Magnificent museum, is it not? Greetings. You must be the legendary oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius.
Good to see you too, Georgius.
I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that, I am most grateful.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
Well, we had a Socratic dialogue. I don't think the underworld guy, I don't think Hades even knew what was going to happen here, right? I think the paradox resolved itself and almost nobody even understood what was happening there. So because I'm from today, everyone got sent to today, because otherwise if they came back to the normal world back then that would have resulted in like the timeline potentially changing, because a bunch of people that were dead would be alive again, and some of these people were kind of important and could have made like larger changes here and there or something like that. Although the process in which they were taken by Karen doesn't sound like it had anything to do with time to begin with, so I don't know why it would check time paradoxes when he's sending them back to Earth. I don't know. It's a throwaway thing. I don't know if this whole premise makes that much sense if you look at it too closely. Consider me there. It's good to see you again, George. I feel bad because he's like, this is the correct way to pronounce it if it's Greece, but I don't really know for sure even the Roman way to pronounce it, so I'm double wrong. But also I don't want to be in like a fucking like Revicol situation. It's good to see you again.
You too, my friend.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia.
Hi, Fabia.
I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure.
You're welcome.
I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive.
You look like you're dressed like a Flintstones character. I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I really am.
It was good to see you, Fabia.
You too.
So, gotta click a thing on the stuff on the computer. It's fourth wall break. Okay, I did it. What are you doing, sir?
Some soiree, innit? Ah, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Dacius.
Hi, Dacius.
Listen, I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Most gracious of you.
So what are you doing with yourself these days?
I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend?
I can't really see the future, I'm afraid.
Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer.
Broadcast television's gonna be the next big thing.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm gonna make a bloody fortune.
I'll be going now.
Of course, don't let me keep you. Thanks again for the tips, my friend.
Yeah, he's the one scumbag people probably would want to see in the ending because he's probably a fan favorite because he's an entertaining character. And then you get to ruin his life. It's not even a choice. It's all the options are to ruin his life.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Nice to see you too, Octavia.
I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counselor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him.
Sounds like a noble cause. Good on you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
It was good to see you again, Octavia.
And you. Oh, and I hope this isn't too forward, but some of us are going out for a drink after this, if you'd like to join us.
Sounds good. I'm in.
Wonderful. I'll see you soon.
Greetings.
Oh, wow. I didn't even recognize you at first. Good to see you. Good to see you looking well, Livia.
Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, at least until I'm well enough to be independent again.
Read any good poems lately?
Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence.
Perhaps you're right. It was good to see you again, Livia.
And you. Farewell, friend.
This game has more characters to say goodbye to than most RPGs. It's quite the tour.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Thanks, Kabash.
You know my name? Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
You're 25? That's the biggest surprise for me. Like, wait. Okay. Sounds like you've earned it.
Indeed.
It was good to see you again, Kabash.
Thank you, Oracle.
The jacket looks neat, but then there's this fucking blazing shirt under it. Okay, it was most blazing in the direction we were in, where it was like pure bright white, and it was a nightmare. The statue of Kerti, the Egyptian ram-headed deity believed by the Egyptians to ferry the deceased to the underworld. He is associated with death and Osiris, the god of the underworld. This must be the man in the ram headdress who Kabesh saw when he awoke by the river.
What is up?
What is up? It's an Anubis. The ancient statue of Anubis, the ancient Egyptian god of mummification and embalming, among other things. You two pair up? Hello. Oh, it's Rufius and Virgil. That was an awkward hello. That was terrifying.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you too, Rufius.
I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
It turns out you were right. The statues really were watching us.
Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
That is unfortunately true. It's good to see you again, Rufus.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
Some of you speak like 4 languages at this point, right? So you were acting out your internalized homophobia.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you.
Good to see you, Virgil.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
It was good to see you again, Virgil.
You too. As Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I may take you up on that. So basically, I was right about the whole panopticon thing, essentially. Because I noticed that the design was the fact that there's the one obvious tower that can see everything from everywhere and so on. But also, like, specifically, Rufius was kind of losing his mind because of the fact that he knew he was being watched all the time everywhere. It's just that it was the statues. But the same idea applies.
Hello there.
Oh. Wait. I thought he didn't see his girl again. I thought that was it somebody else that was with Scintilla? There's a lot of characters, and it's even harder to remember the missing ones.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name.
Which monster?
You didn't hear? My adoptive father, Sentius, locked me up in the upper cistern to stop me from escaping. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Sounds like he got what he deserved. I had no idea. I knew you were there. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's because I didn't keep in the time loop. I went back to experiment with where to go. Because if you talk to her, it leads to you causing the endings. There might be a way to talk to her and not cause an ending, and then you've met each other before. And then my character doesn't say, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I guess, maybe, or something, I don't know. But she wouldn't know me still. I don't know. It's a big, weird mess. Yeah, I don't know. So I invariably did have to load saves. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
Okay, you guys are all way too established. Rufius is the most accurate one, where he's just still trying to adjust to anything at all. I might just do that. It was nice to see you, Gabriella.
Thanks. You too.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius.
Good to see you, too, Ulpius.
I understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake, I'll be forever in your debt.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope and missed out on all of this? So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way, sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier.
Doesn't it take a bit to brew wine? I don't know. I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you.
It was good to see you, Ulpius.
You too.
Never let me know this many people in real life. It's exhausting. There's somebody waiting out there. All must walk this path to where the laws of day help the virtuous to paradise in the city beneath the earth. The ravenous hunger of the avaricious is sated at the banks of the stream, but in vain, for none from here may return. Is it like the first sign that I read? Maybe? It was a while ago. Hades, Lord of Many. Oh, it's one of the plaques. The whole ass building in here. A Sumerian plaque written in cuneiform, this insolent one shall become the suffering of the many. Nurgle the Fierce One. And who is that? Oh, right.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
I recognize that voice.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
You were whispering to me all along?
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
You did what you could. Thank you. You created the time loop?
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath.
What became of Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
What became of Karen?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day.
Several questions. It was nice meeting you.
And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Of course.
Good, because they remember you.
Ah.
Well done, my friend.
Ah.
Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
The canon ending, achievement unlocked. There we go. Yep. Is the other ending... Maybe I get it if I rat out Persephone? In the ending? Maybe. Huh, that was the slowest and clunkiest way you could have done that ending. It's like, it's nice to have a little goodbye to all the people, but holy crap. Like, that was like 40 to 50 minutes, I think, of slowly talking to characters with the same 3 dialogue choices over and over again. I think that's why people invented slideshows, or like, you know, a little montage, or like, oh, like this person did that, and that person did, like at the end of a Monster Prom game, or even like a lot of RPGs, just like recap, like, oh, and then these two got together and had their happy ending over here, and these two started a vineyard together, and these two are gay now, and blah blah blah, and so on, and like you can establish that significantly faster in a way that wouldn't be just a gratuitous, almost hour-long, slow montage of making polite conversation with a whole bunch of people that you barely know. It starts off with kind of a triumphant thing, because it's like, it's Galerius. It's like, oh, it's Galerius. Oh, he's here. That's crazy. But then after that, it's like, oh, cool. The baker lady. The lady who bakes. I help her not die for a second, and that's her whole role in the game. This conversation's basically longer than our conversations we had in the real story. And there's like a bunch of those, and just in general, it's just that was too slow. that was just unnecessary. It's sweet. It's just that by the end of it, you're like, oh my fucking god. And like, I guess you can just skip it, but I imagine a lot of people are gonna go through it, and so that's why I'm thinking like there's gotta be a better way to handle that. Definitely a smoother way to summarize it, and then maybe like a little thing where everyone's thanking you in like a cutscene that's just kind of a faster thing, or even like a narrator being like the blah blah blah, the friends we made along the way, and then you can see this like whole crowd of people that you know, and they're all like, and you get to see what they all look like dressed up in modern clothes, but like just in a smoother way. That definitely could have been a 5 to 10 minute thing, is what I'm saying, and had a similar emotional impact, or even a better one, just by not being that really, really mechanical, like Elder Scrolls dialogue, when in a scene that suited it the least, probably. But anyway, that was The Forgotten City. I might still dip back in to see if I get the other ending, if it's what I think it is. Maybe you just rat her out. She's like, actually, he can't know. So maybe it is you just tell him about Proserpina. That's a difficult word. I don't know why it's a difficult name. The emphases are all weird. It throws me off. But also I've been saying Persephone a lot across a lot of games and so on, and also referencing said games outside of those games and otherwise and so on. What was it? Wasn't there that period where there was a period of time where I was reading Barbarous and House of Leaves while playing Hades and Spiritfarer. And that was 4 separate versions of Hades and Persephone and the Minotaur or something in various ways. Wait, no, is the Minotaur tied to the... Wait. I'd have to double check. Is Persephone in the Minotaur story, or is that somebody else? I might be conflating a couple things, but there was a lot of Karen for a while, and there was a lot of Minotaur for a while, and I was like, these are weird coincidences. I didn't go into most of these things even knowing that's what they were, except Hades, obviously. But, that was... Yeah, I don't know. I can see why this game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, because it gives you some cool feelings of discovery and so on, and it's got, like, unveiling to do. The incorporation of combat and zombies was just kind of an iffy choice. But, a thing that keeps it from being an all-time great for me is the fact that it's just not that much of an investigation-based game. In fact, there's almost no... I feel like there's almost no need to actually think in this game. You kind of just walk around and talk to everybody, and then the quest log will pretty much just tell you what to do at that point. And even if you did a quest log, like just paying attention will tell you what to do. Like, people basically spell out to you what to do next in a very straightforward sort of way. So it's like, I don't know. It doesn't even really have like the Phoenix Wright kind of thing where you have to solve puzzles and like prove that you've made the connection by being like, point out which piece of evidence, which like, I have my own issues with that system, because that can have like some real weird adventure game logic where you basically want to make the same point that the game wants you to make, but you're not making the same like connection they're making about like, and you got to point at that character with this glove or something, and it's like, but I know I have a different logical avenue to think about that in a way, or I'm processing that information differently, and you can't like reason with the game's logic. There's like no escape. But in this game, yeah, I don't really remember much in the way of like puzzles or deduction going on for the most part. It was usually relatively spaced out, or relatively straightforward what there was to do, to the point where the game was pretty much just telling you via your quest log what all the things to pursue were, and then by the time you follow up on those things, you mostly found everything. So I think the primary input the player had was just doing basic exploration, like the way you would do like exploring a dungeon in Dark Souls or something, like just kind of poking around everywhere and making sure you went everywhere and talked to everybody. But it's hard to call it like an adventure puzzle game, or like a, I don't know, like it doesn't have the time. I think Sexy Brutale and Outer Wilds and even Unavowed had a bit more problem solving in some of the stuff. Maybe I don't remember Unavowed very well, but not Unavowed. That's a different game. Unheard. It's whatever. It's not my good example anyway. But like Sexy Brutale and Outer Wilds, I think, were more puzzly, and this one was more just kind of, it's more visual novel-y, where you kind of just sit through the story, and most of it kind of happens on its own. We would like you to post our stuff or follow us or whatever. Back in the crazy sci-fi place, gonna see what I can do and stuff. Hit! Just jump right off the bridge.
And here you are. Allow me.
Blah 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 blah. What's your story? Blah blah blah. You're a god. Blah 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 blah. Why do you sound like a man? Let's talk about something else. You're responsible for being a dickhead? Why are you such a dickhead? Stop being a dickhead. Dickhead. How you know when people sin? No reason. You destroyed all these lives, you monster. Where'd the bows come from? What do you consider a sin? What do you consider a sin? Oh no, shit. I've seen terrible things that you don't take care of, like, sure, debt bondage.
You speak.
It's not the same thing. I should turn you all into gold immediately. Is that what you want? I am right, and you know it.
Your desire to be right outweighs your desire to survive. You will make a fine statue.
Draw a golden bow or wooden bow.
Do you really think you can wound me, a god?
with that primitive weapon?
Let's find out. Ooh. Let's find out, shall we?
Pathetic.
The
many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
I got the crown. Do I win? What happened? Oh. Rewind time and show Pluto that you have Proserpina's crown. Look how bad he is at killing me in the middle of his own domain. He didn't hit me a single time. He just floats there and waits for something to happen, I guess. Did Proserpina explode when I did that? I'm thinking back, like, what did I see a minute ago? I can't jump off that. Bye. This takes a bit. Alright. Nope. Ow. Dick. Stop that. No. I don't think I'm gonna get up there. Oh well. Die, dick. Well, I got past him that time. I guess he can do it on his left, but not his right.
Salve, friend.
How you doing? I'm a little busy right now. This might lead to an ending where everyone's dead. But we're doing maximum variety, if possible. Go, 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 go. Can I just shove this into the abyss? There's something very amusing about the idea that we're in a time loop, so like we do have an advantage over the gods. Like Pluto doesn't know what's happening. It's really interesting. Pluto. Hades. Osiris. Nergal. Ow, my blinding eyes. Wow, what a revelation. I've never seen this before.
And here you are. Allow me. No,
blah 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 blah. See this? It's Proserpina's crown.
I would recognize that anywhere, and yet my beloved still wears hers. What is this? How did you come by it?
I took it from her after I killed her in another timeline.
You vile, despicable creature. Why would you do such a thing? And worse still, boast about it.
Funny. I didn't want to kill her, but if you don't put an end to the golden rule, I'll do it again.
You have put me in an impossible position. If I refuse, you will murder her. And yet, if I agree, I will lose my wager and return to Elysium humiliated and alone.
Well, that's the idea.
Perhaps you are cleverer than you appear, mortal. I do not see that I have a choice in this. Your treachery and savagery have opened my eyes like nothing I have witnessed in 3,000 years. And now you have shown me your species' true colors. And I see that Proserpina was a fool to have ever believed in you at all. This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium,
Neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
We just want to return to the world.
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Don't make me kill her again.
Enough, foul creature. This is not something I have decided. You see, once this exodus begins...
Paradox, I'm ready. Once again, this game really needs to skip old dialogue option. So I don't want to skip anything new, but also I don't want to sit through 20 minutes of the same conversation. And you can't tell which one's which. Hey, it's a me. We probably have nothing new to say to each other at this point.
Oh. Hi there. Well,
came here to see you. I'm young. That was me. Haha, I'm so funny. The achievement I unlocked was Psycho, which is a bad sign. What's that one? Intimidate the creator of the golden rule. Haha.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure no...
He still talks to you no matter what. I thought Psycho might have been because I maximized the number of people who die by not telling Galerius anything, but I guess we'll see. Or maybe I did the loop so fast that nobody died.
You're back!
I see.
You can't skip this line specifically.
I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can... That... I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now! Al! And
If for whatever reason you can't skip the line of dialogue where her eyes change from one to the other, because it has to be synced up with an animation or something. Yeah, it just says 1 year later, it doesn't say where we are. Exactly. Oh, meow. Oh, meow. Is there less people here now? You're still here.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Galerius, what are you doing here?
It's a crazy story. Anyway, I know I wanted to say. Of course.
Good to see you. You're here and you're here. She died of the poison.
Hey.
And she died in the cave-in. And you're still you. I guess the lack of a cure means they never got together or something? Weren't you here with somebody too?
Evening.
Yeah, Ulpius. So like 3 characters are dead and 1 character's missing? What happened to this guy?
Hello there. Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. You didn't... Don't worry. I'm living by myself on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's something Ulpius and I used to talk about doing when we got out. And I thought that's what he would have wanted. But it's been... hard. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's just not the same without him. Mostly it just reminds me he's gone.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's hardly your fault. I'll be alright. In time.
It was nice to meet you, Gabriella.
Thanks. You too.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living in a beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets, full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are. You too. If you're ever in the Netherlands, I'd be happy to show you around. It's the least I could do.
Virgil's gonna be fine. Is the takeaway.
Good evening.
Greetings. You must be the legendary oracle. I am told...
Whatever happened to Fabia?
The poor sweet thing perished in a shrine collapse before the rest of us were saved. It is the one regret I have in all this.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You too, my friend.
Hey.
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you.
Hey, Lucrezia.
Lucy is fine. I make it. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you.
Where's Lulia?
Oh, she didn't make it. She died from poison while you were in the Great Temple. It was very sad. She was a good woman and a friend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It wasn't your fault. Decius is to blame. He's here somewhere too. Not that anyone would talk to him. I'm not even sure how he got invited. You too. Don't be a stranger.
Everybody's having a bad time. This is the don't... I was right. There's a don't save anybody option. Where just a lot of people are missing at the end. Ruh-roh.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more...
Sorry if I frightened.
Recognize that voice?
I want...
It was nice meeting you.
Oh, and... Good. Because they remember you.
Oh my god, my adoring fans.
Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
Oh, that's supposed to be a statue of me in the middle. I just registered that. I'm like, hang on, there's a bunch of naked dudes, but that guy's just wearing jeans. I was looking at the audience last time. I didn't look at the statues. There's ending 3. It is so far from ending 4. Holy shit. On that meter. Maybe you should be a little further down the meter. It does involve you finding the white hallway, which is a lot. And you pretty much have to be ready to save everyone at that point, I think. Oh wait, yeah, I don't think the endings even involve who you saved, which I thought they would be originally. It's just a matter of, did you threaten Hades or Pluto, or did you get the other ending I got the first time? So yeah, it definitely should be closer to 4 to indicate the effort. Although honestly, all of the endings are pretty closely bunched together. I didn't have that much left to do at that point. But yeah, I don't have a lot of new thoughts. Ready to wrap things up. I found all 4. I had the epiphany midway through the credits of what to do next. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, I did think I knew where the branching point was. It's kind of obvious to think like, oh yeah, that thing you avoided doing in the ending, that probably causes something to happen. Alright, that was Forgotten City. See you next time.